All right, I will start the recording here. If folks have cameras and you feel comfortable of bringing it up, bring it on up. I'm gonna get a screenshot. We usually do that at the beginning of every session. I'll give you a couple of seconds to get ready. Bring your cameras up. We can take a screenshot. If you are working on your computer, if you want to take screenshots and send me later as well, that would work. Hey, Jonathan, looking good. Let's see if somebody else is going to join us. We are live on LinkedIn as well. If you are joining us on LinkedIn, there is a link on that broadcast. You can click to connect. Uh, and it would be great if you join us in Teams. So if you want to see more content, if you're on LinkedIn, you want to see more content, you can join us by clicking the link there. All right. I am going to get a screenshot. Anybody else wants to show your beautiful faces? If not, okay. We have Suresh joining us, looking good. Like the shirt color there, Suresh. Yellow is my favorite.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ramesh.
All right.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm able. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna get a screenshot and then we'll get going here. All right. This is awesome. This is very good. Very good. So let me save it and then we'll get going. Um, I'm gonna mute everybody for now, and if you want to kill your camera, hey Fabricio, good to see you, my brother. Also, a lot of good people here today. I'm gonna mute everybody, and then if you wanna switch the camera off, it's your choice there, and then we'll get going, uh, and it's gonna be an awesome time together. Cool, cool. All right, come on, computer. Okay, so let's kick this thing off and get cracking here. If my computer lets me, right now it just doesn't want to do it. All right, okay, I'm about to share my screen here and we'll take off. All right, please let me know if you see my screen. Yep. Cool,
Yep.
cool. We have I have made some people organizers in this meeting. So if you see folks show up uninvited, if you will, you can admit them into the meeting. So, well, good afternoon. Well, it could be good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. In fact, if you wanna send a shout out in the chat window and let us know where you are connecting from, that'll be great. But anyhow, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Victor Dantas. We're kicking off session 2 of the Zero to Hero on PowerApps portals. It is my honor to have you join today. Really excited about this session, especially because I don't have to talk much this time around. I'm gonna be doing a couple of presentations, but you are in for a treat. I mean, there is a lot of good speakers joining us this time around. It's gonna be a great session. Um, Sessions kicking off today. Then we have weekly meetings every Thursday around the same time. Of course, some of the speakers they live in different time zones, so we may adjust the time of the meeting depending on who is speaking. Otherwise, it would be brutal to my friend Arpit in India to have a meeting around this time. So it'll be very hard. It'll be very hard for him. But we will let you know um, in the invite when specific times change. All right. Um, Yes, so let's move forward here with the presentation. Before we dive into the concept for today, I'll be talking about portals, internal components, and JavaScript. Before we get into it, I wanted to go through a little bit of housekeeping in this particular program, a little bit of history as well, and then we move into technical stuff. All right. Again, my name is Victor Dantas. I'm a Microsoft MVP, a Dynamics a 365 Saturday slash Power Community Ambassador. I've been with the organization for close to 3 years now, and it's been amazing. I love the work that we do. Oops. I am a Power Platform consultant for the last, I've been doing Dynamics development for the last 8, 9 years. I am a software developer by trade, if you will. I've been in the software development industry for over 25 years. Um, so I've been doing this for quite some time. And if you want to find more information about me or contact me, if you have any questions, you can access the dantas.ca website. There you have links to social media, also my YouTube channel if you would like to subscribe. The QR code here will take you to the Zero to Hero webpage. There you're going to find information about the program, how you can access the assets available through the program, information about the previous session, so on and so forth. So I strongly advise you to scan and see and check the page out. How did this Zero to Hero mentorship program started? I am a son of a Brazilian mom. I grew up in a single parent home for my early teenager years and forward. And at the time, things were very hard. My mom had to work quite a bit to make sure we didn't get into trouble. But one thing that was very special about my upbringing was that my aunts, my uncles, and a broader community of people provided me education to be where I am. I mean, I by no means consider my career the best of all, but the little that I am able to accomplish today, it was due to collaboration and community. So I'm very grateful for my mom. For my uncles and my aunts, friends that came along and provided me an opportunity to study and to take courses. So, at the core of the Zero to Hero program is this sense of I can only get better if I help other people succeed. And fortunately, we have been blessed with the opportunity to provide this type of education for free to the broader community. So this is the heart of the Zero to Hero mentorship program. This is the heart of Power Community, of all the events that we do. Nothing wrong with events that are paid. I mean, a lot of companies use that model because they provide additional services. We provide education, and we found a way to do it for free. All right. So that is the heart of Zero to Hero and Power Community. Uh, for this particular session, we are into session 2. By design, this is a pro dev session. I mean, if you never used PowerApps portals, if you never developed in PowerApps portals, I strongly advise you to go back to my YouTube channel and connect and find there the playlist for session 1. Okay, you need to go through the videos in session 1 to make sure that you get enough information on how to go about developing in Power Apps portals. Once you finish session 1, you'll be at a position that you can really follow all the topics and follow the strategy on what's going to be presented on this particular session, on session 2. All right. again, at the end of the lesson today, if you want, you can go back to my YouTube channel. You can go through the playlist for session one, go through all the episodes. If you have questions, you can contact me, and I'll be glad to help you. All right. I have some folks asking questions on LinkedIn. This is about a program called Zero to Hero mentorship program for PowerApps portals. You see a link there on LinkedIn that you can click and join us in Teams to see more of the stuff that I'm sharing on my desktop. Okay. So the next topic here is the Teams channel. For those of you who registered in the program, I have sent a link with information about details about the program, a lot of the stuff that I'm discussing now. But you should have also received an invite to join the program's Teams channel. The Teams channel is alive. It's live throughout the existence throughout the time of this class from April 8th to June 24th. So you can use the Teams channel to send questions. And the beauty of the channel is that if I'm not available to answer the questions, any of the members will be able to answer. Not only the presenters, but people who are participating in the program, they'll be able to see your questions, excuse me, and they'll be able to provide answers there as well. So I strongly advise you to use that resource. All right. Our weekly schedule. For now, we have one meeting per week. It's going to be on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. So every Thursday we have a meeting where presenters will show topics and they will explain the details. And then I'm working to set up another weekly gathering. That second weekly gathering will be for homework, for questions. So maybe not the presenters, all presenters will be available for that particular session, meeting, if you will, but myself and other moderators will be able to join and answer questions if you have them. So again, right now we only have Thursday set up, but depending on the volume of questions, we are going to set up a separate meeting, weekly meeting, just to answer questions. All right. And if you want to be a moderator, if you have enough knowledge on portals and you want to collaborate and cooperate for the success of this program, let me know. Send me a message, and depending on the amount of people who are available to work in that fashion, we'll have maybe an additional meeting or maybe two. I don't know. Let me know if you're available and willing to help us out. Okay. Uh, Program assets. The idea of session two is that as we talk about different topics, we use a business case and we use the same assets as we advance through the execution, through the life of the program. So what I mean by that, currently we have a Dataverse solution file that has entities and fields, and the idea is that the presenters will use that solution when they present on the various topics. So if somebody's talking about liquid development, they will explain what liquid does, the operators, the filters, and all that, but always use the components and the attributes and the tables available in that solution file. The idea is that the list of assets will grow over time. So when we talk about CSS, advancing style sheeting, or advanced portal theming, those assets will be available for you either before the class or after the class. So all of this information, the location of the assets, will be provided to you through email. So that's why it was important for you to subscribe, to register. Okay. Presenters. As I mentioned in the beginning of my talk today, we have a bunch of amazing speakers joining us. I mean, these are folks that I constantly look up to. I mean, I'm always looking at the content that they provide on the web, you know, blogs and presentation videos and all that. So these are people that, I mean, they continue to amaze me in the daily basis. People who really know the product. All right. So, I mean, the reason why I'm so excited about this session is that, I mean, I get to sit and also hear from these amazing speakers. All right. So this is the Portals Justice League. I already presented myself. Next, there in the picture, you see Jim Novak. Jim is a great friend of mine. I had a chance to meet him in person in New York City back in 2019. Can't wait for us to see each other again once COVID is over. Jim has a lot of presentations online on advanced liquid template and also related to all kinds of things portal related. Okay, and he also does quite a few of the XRM toolbox tools. So look him up. All right, he's awesome. Next, that we have Ulrich. I got a chance to see a few presentations from her, and stuff that she does in portals is it's just amazing. I mean, you look at a portal, and if you use the technology long enough, you can tell that it is a PowerApps portals. But if you look at the portals that Rick has developed, and the same with Francesco Musso, we'll talk about him shortly here, you can hardly tell that it was developed using PowerApps portals. So she will share all of the secrets about advanced portals theming, how to do it with a good set of organizing skills. I mean, I do quite a bit of CSS myself, but I don't have the authority to say that everything that I do in the CSS area is best practice. Get the job done, get it to look nice, well, to my standards, but I cannot affirm that it's best in terms of industry best practices. So next there on the second line, you have Arpit Shrivastava, which just released an article, a blog article on PCF for portals. Amazing work there. So Arpit is going to be talking about ALM, all things ALM and DevOps. It is a huge topic for Dataverse, uh, but also for portals. I mean, this is one of the topics that people ask me the most, be it on my presentations or when I'm executing a project. We have Francesco Musso. Francesco put forward a portal mock-up, if you will, or a clone of Spotify using PowerApps portals. So combination of heavy usage of CSS skills and portals theming and the web API. So he'll be sharing in that area as well. It'll be great to hear what he has to present. And then last but not least, you have Alexander, which is going to present on all things web API, good practices, and all. So I'll tell you, by the end of this session too, though, if you tell me that you didn't learn anything, I'll find it very hard, because these folks, they really know what they are talking about. They have very vast experience in portals topic. All right. So I'm going to pause for a little bit and take a look at the chat and see if anybody posted anything. If not, we'll continue here. I think nobody said a thing so far. So we are good to go with time. So let's track it along. Let's keep on moving forward. Alrighty. So for today, I will talk about portal internals, the entities, the objects, how to get to places in portals. Of course, this is all stuff that we saw at session 1. So again, I strongly advise you to go back and study what was presented in session 1 before you move to session 2. But for those who have already experienced in portals, the next few slides will work as refreshers for you, all right? So portal internals, this is a slide that I show on every single presentation that I do. Um, it talks about the various portals entities and how they are interconnected, if you will, within the portals technology. So at the top of the food chain, you have websites. Portals is a combination of data that's stored in Dataverse or CDS or Dynamics 365, whichever name you want to use. Officially Dataverse now. So it's a combination of data that's stored there plus technology. So Portals is written in ASP.NET. Not sure which version is being used now as we don't have access to the code directly, but it does use ASP.NET and it uses data in Dataverse. So at the top, you have a record that represents your website. Related to that website record, you have web pages, you have site settings, content snippets, web files, and there is a lot more entities related to websites, but those for us, I think, are the most important at this stage. All right. So every single page that you navigate to, they have a representation as a web page. Unless we are talking about internal pages, reserved pages, if you will, used by portals. For example, the sign-in page doesn't have a web page record. Register user, so on and so forth. But everything that's content-based has a representation as a web page record. Okay. Then you have site settings. Site settings are entries that will drive specific features and functionality in the portal. So I'll give you an example. If you want to allow users to use the local authentication, that's defined in site setting. If you want to allow users to log in using Facebook or log in using Azure AD or Azure B2C, though that particular type of information is stored as a site setting. When Alexander presents, he's going to present on site settings and he's going to present on hidden site settings that will have an impact on your portal, but they are not shipped out of the box, but you can still add them and make use of it. So content snippets. Content snippets are I would call it parts in code that you can reuse in different parts of the application. So they can be of type text, they can be HTML, and within a content snippet, you can use Liquid to drive content. So let's say that you have a message that you want to show to a user that says, hello user, welcome to the portal. And you want to display that same message throughout the application, you'd create that as a content snippet and then reference that content snippet onto whatever pages or parts of your site you want to present it. A cool thing about content snippets is that you can mark them or you can label, you can stamp it as editable content snippet, which means when you are editing your page, be it through Portal Studio or through the front-facing editing tool, you can click on that particular content snippet area and type right at the page. So you don't have to go to the portal management model-driven app to make that change. All right. And then on that list, we see web files. Web files are an area where portals make use to expose file assets. Out of the box, PowerApps portal files are stored as annotation attachments, but you can use Azure Blob to store web files, okay? But from the get-go, they are stored as annotation. It is in this area, though, that if you want to refer to a JavaScript library, and if that library is not available through CDN or a public repository, this is where you're going to upload your assets into Portal. Okay, and again, we'll talk some more about it as we advance in the program. So next there you have web pages. So web pages are records that will store content about the page itself. For every single web page, you have a counterpart record called web page localized content, and for that particular asset, it is that particular asset that is used when you are deploying multi-language website. So if you have a site that's delivered in English, French, Spanish, uh, German, whatever, Portuguese, you're gonna have as many web page localized content as the number of languages that you have your portal set up to. Okay, so but that's where the content lives. Associated with web pages, you have something called a page template. Back in the day, a page template could be used as a reference to an ASPX page. So you would be allowed to code your own pages and then refer to those pages as template. And what I mean by pages in this scenario is a ASP.NET Forms page. So you could refer to those in this page template area. Since we don't have access to the code base anymore, that particular practice, it's not applicable to us as developers. I'm not sure if Microsoft is making use of it still, but it's just impossible for us to upload ASPX pages with the SaaS version of Portals. Okay, we just can't do it. But there is another type of template that's called web template. And in that, we can do quite a bit of customization using HTML, JavaScript, and Liquid. Okay, and my friend Jim Novak will be talking about that when his session is up. All right. Um, Associated with pages, you can also select or define entity forms or entity views. I should have updated my presentation. Those are called just forms and lists now, with the name change for DataVerge when Microsoft dropped the keyword entity, and now everything's called table. So the names have changed for portals as well. My apologies, we'll make those changes on an updated version of this slide deck. Page templates. We already talked about the two different types. Let's skip over to web templates. For web templates, again, you can use HTML, JavaScript, and Liquid. We'll address the three technologies or the three approaches throughout this program. So we'll see examples of JavaScript used within a web template, especially when we talk about um, web API. So we'll see lots of it. And then we're going to see interaction with Liquid. So if you haven't seen Liquid or Web API, think about it this way. Liquid, it's a scripting language that allows for you to execute commands, if you will, server side. So you can read data from DataVerge, you can bring the data, and then you can transform and manipulate and expose using JavaScript and HTML. All right. Okay. Let's get into an environment and then talk about parts in portals, what's available, and where to find things. And again, I would expect that most of you already know where things are, but if you don't, this is gonna serve as a refresher for you as well. So I'm gonna open an environment that I have ready here. I I'm not sure about you if it's a common practice for you to use the preview. I like to use it. I mean, I find it stable. I know it's preview still, but I like to play with the new features in the Maker experience. So I'm at make.preview.powerapps.com. If I navigate to solutions, I can activate the solution preview. Again, not part of our presentation per se, but good thing or good feature nonetheless. So I'm going to navigate to the solution that we are going to use on this session. This is called course management. And the business case is just to provide interface for students to see available courses, information about educational programs, and be able to register against the program. So in here I can navigate, list tables, and then you see the tables that are created on this particular solution file. Again, I will give you the links for you to download these assets and install it on your environment. All right. Um, Let me go back to the main page here. I'm gonna navigate to apps, and if you have a portal provision in your environment, you're gonna have one app that is the portal itself and another app that is a portal management app. So for this one is a model-driven app that allows for you to see all of the data that I presented on, all of the tables, if you will, that I presented on a few minutes ago. Okay, and the one below here with the blue icon is your portal. Okay, so you can click on this portal and click edit. Okay, if you don't have a portal provisioned, you can always click new app, portals, give it a name. Okay, you can give the address that you want to use, the subdomain there, and then hit create. Then the Maker Studio will create the app for you. Once you have the app, you can click edit right here and then navigate straight to the Portal Studio. All right. I am forcing myself to use Portal Studio as much as I can. And the reason is because I think if we don't provide feedback on the things that don't work, or feedback in general to show this works well, or if a particular area doesn't work, then I don't think Microsoft will adjust things to the best of our liking, if you will. So I'm forcing myself to use it. I would advise you to use that as well. It's your call. Portal Studio doesn't have all the features that we need. For example, if you're playing with forms or lists, it doesn't have all of the attributes and all the configuration areas that we see in the model-driven app. But it is what it is. I mean, we'll get there eventually. But for now, I enjoy it. I like what I see. All right. So on the left side, you have a option to navigate to pages. You can click and navigate to a page directly from here. The one down below is a toolbox, a components box. If you want to add a text box, you can click and place it. The next one here is themes. I have basic theme enabled, which means I'm using in the backend, which it really means is I'm using a pre-configured CSS file that Microsoft built. But if I disable basic theme, I can then upload my own Bootstrap-based CSS file. All right, and I can do that by clicking on by adding a new file if I were to disable this. And then the last part here is templates. Now we have two objects called templates, okay? And this has been a source of confusion for many people, all right? As we saw here, you have this page template, and page template has a lookup field to web template, okay? A lot of folks are creating a web template, directly in the Portal Studio page, and they expect the template to show up on this list. All right. This is not going to happen. This list is based on page templates. So if you want to see your template here and be able to edit, you need to create the page template and then reference the page template to your web template. Okay. By the same token, if you create a web template that has a name that's not the same as the page template, and you expect that page template to show up on this list, it's not going to show up with the name that you create the web template. Okay, so this list, even though the list, when I'll click here in a second, but even though when I click here, it shows the web template content, this list is based on page templates. Okay, I hope this makes sense to all of you. All right. Okay, moving on to the left side. So the left side is more properties area. So if I select a particular component, it will show properties. In this scenario here, it will vary depending on what's selected. So I selected an image or a div that has an image in the background. So it's showing a field here that allows me to change the image. If I were to click on the header, it will allow me to select which navigation menu I want to use. If I click on the footer, there is no property associated. So it really depends on which area you click on. You will see something different here on the components area. Okay. Now the favorite area for me in this setup is this guy here, the source code editor. I mean, I use this a lot. Reason being is because all of these changes can be made through the back end using the Portal Management Studio or using an XRM toolbox tools that allow for us to make changes to areas of portals. But in every single scenario, when you make a change, say you make a change using the Portal Management Studio, you have to refresh the cache to see the changes. So if I make a change using Portal Studio, my changes are immediately available if I am browsing the website. So I am using this more and more. My hope is that we'll get to a place where we can expand the source to have more real estate while coding this. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to that place. But I'm telling you, this is amazing. And the cool thing too is that from Studio though, I can go to a template and say, okay, this page is based on this full page layout, and I need to add a right sidebar. So instead of me going to the portal management model driven app, I can just click on the template directly from here. Oh, this one's a bad example, so let me switch to another one. uh, this guy. I can switch to a template and make changes to it right here, save and refresh my page, and the changes are committed. So we are good to go. Now, the same thing is applicable to CSS. I can navigate. I'll just do this for a second. I could click on a particular CSS file, make changes to it, save, and the changes would be available right from the get-go. All right. So I really like I said, really like Studio, and I'm using it quite often. Okay. Now, quick insight on Studio. Things that you have to be mindful of. Okay, Studio uses autosave heavily, which means autosave kicks in the moment that we make a change, excuse me, and we step out of a particular field. All right, so let's say that I change the minimum height to 501 pixel. I think it has already saved, maybe, I don't know. But you see this spin it really quickly and show that the change took place, okay? So if you make changes with velocity. If you do it too fast, there is a risk that the change that you made last is not really caught by the autosave and persisted in the portal's backend. So be careful to ensure that your changes are actually committed to the backend. So you don't want to lose any work. All right. So um, all right. Before we move out of the Portal Studio, I mentioned to you that you can navigate through the source code and you can make changes to, and the experience is great. I also mentioned that it would be nice if this particular area could be expanded so that you can use as a Visual Studio per se and make changes to your source code from here. All right. There is a guy who created a VS Code extension for portals. I haven't used it yet, but I think the idea is promising. I mean, can you imagine? You go to VS Code, you take all of the current code per se from portals, make changes in VS Code, and deploy it from there or push it from there. So this is something that I think the industry will go towards. I'm not sure if Microsoft would officially support such a thing, but there is somebody in the community that has done it. If you have interest in knowing more, I can send you his name. I don't have it right now off the top of my head. But it is something that the community is strongly backing, and it's a great idea for me. I mean, I have tried to implement React on portals multiple times. Not only React, the basics. I have an article on it already, but implementing a React framework, right? Such as Evergreen. I mean, the amount of files that exist in the particular framework or template, it's just ginormous. And if we had to do it manually, it would upload it the files manually. It would take forever. So this approach of bringing all of your portal assets down to your local machine and having the ability to upload it back into the portals tables, it's just it has a huge potential. I mean, imagine you install your React framework, you have a bunch of files, you copy those files over to this structure that the VS Code for Portals extension has provided, and then you upload it all together. I mean, that saves so much time. But anyhow, it's something that's coming up. I don't know. Maybe we will be able to present on that on this session as well. All right. So I will finish shortly here, but before I do, I want to show you something. So let's navigate to this website real quick. So in this site, I'm not sure if I'm logged on here, but in this site, I have added a entity form. And it's an entity form that's pointing to the contact entity. It's just display information about the logged on user. All right. So this is my user right here. It's called Antonio Victor Dantas. By the way, Antonio is my first name. Okay, but it was the name that my mom used when I was in trouble. So I don't refer to myself as Antonio. Brings back bad memory. So anyhow, but so this is a form that I use. You can see that I'm doing the right sidebar. If you go through the videos on session one, you'll learn how to do it yourself. It's just showing hiding forms. But this particular form has a field called email, and that field is hidden, okay? Now, you can use JavaScript to hide this field. I mean, you can use jQuery, you can inspect the name of the field, the internal name of the field, the ID. So for this guy, job title is, the ID is job title, but job title also has a label. So if you want to do plain JavaScript to hide this field completely, you'd have to do 2 lines of code, if you will, okay? Plus the table itself, okay? So if we step back into the Management Studio and navigate to Entity Forms and go to Student Profile, you see here under Additional Settings that I have included JavaScript to hide the field. First, I did using just plain old jQuery, okay? And this particular command will, again, only hide the input field. Then I showed the team in the last session how to hide using this particular framework, the XRM Portal JavaScript library. Not sure if you ever seen it, but this was developed by an MVP, and this framework allows for you to use a similar syntax that you would use using the the XRM JavaScript for data verge. You know, the syntax is very similar. You have set visible, set disabled. You have an opportunity to do callback. So if a value changes in a lookup, execute a JavaScript. You can do all sorts of stuff using this library. I mean, I really like it. Okay. Now the catch here is, how do I reference this library? Okay. I don't think, last I checked, the library does not have a CDN link, so you cannot reference it on your code directly. So what I did is I created a web file. This web file here, which I call xrm.portal.js, and the attachment associated with this web file record is a text file, a txt file. So this is key. Dataverse will not allow for you to upload a JavaScript file directly, but portals, even though portals need that JavaScript reference, you can game it by calling the website name as JavaScript and upload the JavaScript file as a text file. Okay? Then last but not least, if I go back to that particular page, I think I threw the reference to that file in the Studio template, web template. So this is how I reference the file. Again, notice that this is the name that portals understand the file to be named, but internally, the contents of the file is a text file. All right. So this is how I'm using. And then in terms of implementation, it's very simple. Again, I can put a reference to the library so you can see what's possible there. But again, if you go to additional settings, you see that the code is super simple. Okay, I'm just setting visibility to false. It's one line of code, and this library will take care of the input field, the label, the HTML label entry as well. Now, if you're talking about lookup components in portals, lookup, I think it's about 4 controls to render the lookup experience. You have the input field, you have 2 buttons, and you have, I think, 2 more hidden fields in the back end. If you wanted to hide the control, you could potentially go by without hiding the hidden fields because they're already hidden, but you would have to hide the other components. So the library takes care of it for you. You don't have to go and encode this like crazy. All right. So that's that about XRM Portal. There is also another example on an entity list. If you want to add JavaScript to an entity list, you can go to I think it's the options area, and you can throw your JavaScript here. In this scenario, though, I'm binding my event to each line of a table, and then I can query the value and do whatever I want with that particular grid. So I can change the text to icons using font awesome or glyph icon, so on and so forth. So I mean, JavaScript can be used pretty much anywhere on portals. If you use specifically here on the entity list, then you have a handle as to make changes. You don't have to go find where you put it. Now, there are pages, though, that you don't have the flexibility, okay? And I'll give you an example. The sign-in page. Let me go back to sign-in page here. You don't have a whole lot of flexibility in putting JavaScript here. So you have to resort to a little bit of a dirty work, if you will. You could put JavaScript at the content snippet for the footer. You could put a JavaScript at the end of the web template that controls the display of this page or the beginning, so on and so forth. But those are things that you can still do, even though there is no direct infrastructure, if you will, to place the JavaScript block nicely in a page. So let me show you a few examples of combination of branding and JavaScript in portals. And again, if you're joining us on LinkedIn, you're probably hating because you can't see my screen, but that's done on purpose. There is a link there. You can click and join me on the Teams channel and see everything. All right. So this particular website is a portals website, a little different look and feel. And if I click on the sign-in page, you see that the sign-in page is a lot different than what you see on the portals. Now, I am using combination of content snippet and JavaScript to format this a little nicely. I mean, I know Ulrich has a nice example on how to do this. Mine covers the requirements for my customer, but it is different than what you see out there. If you click on the registration page, same thing, right sidebar. This is using content snippet and JavaScript. I'll show you one more example of a portal that doesn't really look like PowerApps portals. Okay, this is a portal that heavily uses CSS as well as JavaScript and liquid templating. So again, I don't think the tool really limits you and what can be done, but you gotta know your stuff. You gotta know the places you should go where you're gonna find options to place your custom code. All right. So with that, we have about 7 minutes before the hour. I'm going to stop presenting and leave the floor open for questions. And questions can be in regards to this presentation or questions in regards to the program. So send them through here on Teams or on LinkedIn. If you are connecting us, go ahead and send your questions. Now, I see that Manuja has provided the link for the Visual Studio VS Code extension. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you doing that, Manuja. Majuna. Sorry, mispronounced your name. Does anybody else have questions? You can unmute yourself if you prefer, or you can put it on the chat. I'm not sure if folks have. All right.
Thanks, Victor. Thanks for wonderful session 2 on PowerApps portal 020, and I've been subscribing all your blogs and other things for past 3 months, and I was just going but couldn't get a chance to join the session and supporting for this kind of community sessions. So I'll be happy to support if I get any chance for be a contributor or moderator for upcoming sessions.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I mean, this can only be successful if everybody collaborate and cooperate here. So yeah, we'll keep in mind. In fact, though, if folks are willing to support, I'm gonna put a comment. You don't even have to type your name. You can just give a thumbs up to this message. Make it easy for you. If you want to help us with additional weekly sessions, more like for answering questions and showing more, maybe extending the lesson, let me know. I mean, it'll be much appreciated. All right. I forgot to say one thing. Let's see if I can still do it now. So a lot of people they ask me why register. You know, because I mean the classes are public in a sense. I mean anybody can join, connect with us through Teams when the class is live, right? But the whole goal about the registration is that every time that we have news and we have material, we'll have your information. We'll be able to send that to you through email. So that's essentially the goal of collecting information from you. I'm not gonna spam your mailbox. Don't worry about that. That's not me. But it is in a way important for us to know who you are, how often you are connecting, and if you are learning. So that is the idea of the registration. Another side of the registration is that we at the end of each session we give gifts. So I like to give gifts, man. I really do. Some of the gifts are not as desired or desirable. For example, one of the gifts that we put out on the last session was this T-shirt. Okay, along with a Microsoft bottle. Let's see if I can get it here
Oh.
to show you.
Yes, Victor, I'll send you my address because, yeah, I think you wanted me to get in touch with my address or something, didn't you? So, yeah, I'll send you that.
Yeah, and this bottle here. So this is a funny gift. I don't know if I should expect anybody to put on. It's my prank for you, but this is a nice one. This is a nice bottle. I have one myself when I go running or cycling for long distance. It's really cool. And then another gift that we give out is this T-shirt from the event that we did here in Canada. It's pretty iconic, and a lot of Canadians wear not this one specifically, but similar shirts like that here. So we give gifts as well, and then another gift that we're gonna give is a set of books. The Power community work with a particular publisher, and there are lots of cool books under that publisher, and we're gonna be putting that in the raffle as well. One interesting book that has been published through this company is the book from Dantas, the guide for PCF development. So we're gonna be giving those away as well. So if you haven't registered, let me know, or go to the form. I think it's still up on LinkedIn. You can find the links there and register yourself. Make sure you do, because that's the only way we can let you know the news. If we ever cancel a class, you're not going to find out unless you are part of the mailing list. All right. So that's all I have for today. If we don't have any more questions, I will sign out. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. Next week, oh, I almost forgot. Next week we got Francesco Musso is going to present on reskinning portals, and then the following week he'll talk about portals facelift, extreme templating using advanced CSS and web API. So the class on the 22nd, it's like introduction to web API combined with advanced CSS. So it's very good if you can attend. If you cannot, watch it later on YouTube, because this is going to serve as basis for everything else that we see throughout this course. So don't miss next week. Again, you can scan the QR code and find more information about the program, download the assets that are available there. This slide deck is available there if you want to download. If you learn anything, again, you can take possession of it, call it your own if you want, as long as you are teaching other people how to use the tool. I don't care how you promote. There is no vanity about promoting myself. Just take the knowledge, do whatever you want to do, as long as you are teaching somebody else. Like my Hebrew proverb says here: "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens another." Let's make each other more sharp, and let's make this community better. All right. Well, thank you much. I hope you
Awesome.
have a good weekend.
Have a lovely week, Victor. We'll see you
All
next
right.
week.
Take care. Bye bye, folks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Take care.
you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.